So now you recently partnered with Drickus, who is actually fighting this weekend.
Exciting,
Unfortunately, by the time
man.
this comes out, that fight will be done. So we're just going to have a premonition that he would have won already. We already know he's going to win. And he's got the support of TIDL on his side as well.
Declaring the winner by knockout, Drickus still knocks Duplessis.
Drickus Duplessis, remember the name. It will be a household name in the top 10 very, very soon.
What's happening, guys? A new episode of Jester Radio, joined today by two businessmen, two sports experts, fitness experts, Mikhail and Bongani. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming through, and we're going to delve into this new product that you are bringing into South Africa.
Thanks so much, man, for having us on your podcast. Amazing setup, by the way. And yeah, man, we actually brought in a product recently. Well, it took about 8 months to 9 months to do the deal. And basically, finally, we've got a lovely amount of container basically full of a product called TIDL Sport, which is a recovery product. And it's co-founded by Conor McGregor. A lot of large, physical athletes around the world that are using it. They're seeing so much, value in terms of their recovery. Man, and we basically just brought in the product. We saw a large demand, a massive demand actually, basically for recovery within South Africa. And we've been in the sports space for quite a while. We run a sports digital marketing agency, myself and Bongs, and it's called Hypersocial. So yeah, man, we've been playing in the sports space for about 2 years now. And we kind of, started off basically working with athletes, building their brands and getting them to actually mentally fathom or understand that there is life after sports. So basically being able to then get athletes, pro Springbok rugby players, cricketers that play for the Proteas, Bafana athletes as well, and basically getting them to say, cool, invest your money and basically then own equity in businesses or products that can then come into the country and can match your income stream later on, so that if you ever have a problem where you get benched, get injured, or something happens to your career, which is likely to happen most of the time, you at least have a backup, of income, and you don't have to worry about that. Yeah,
that is a big problem with professional sport, is the volatility and the rates of injury. And then if you are a sportsman that requires a certain body part, that body part gets injured. There's what can you do other than make contingencies so that after the fact you have something to obviously fall back on?
Most definitely. I mean, as being someone in bodybuilding as well, but with like a rugby, it's a bit more of a full-on contact.
Yeah.
Even MMA, I know we're definitely gonna speak about Drickus later on. But there's so many things that do come up with heavy contact sports, and how do you recover from that faster?
Yeah.
Two things. Obviously, we're speaking about number one of the income aspect, because the minute you're not an asset to your club anymore, what happens? They replace you.
Yeah.
And there's so many kids right now, underdogs, that are trying to get up the ranks and become a Springbok rugby player as well. So if you tear, for instance, an Achilles, an ACL, break a collarbone or something to that effect, that then affects your career in 8 months, 9 months out of the game, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, definitely.
So now to have to come back, or at least when you are financially in a good place outside of your club, with multiple different business streams, which I have seen very few, a percentage of players, within the rugby space or within the soccer space, that just have that entrepreneurial sort of spirit and that brains, or maybe they've had parents that have also, been able to set a foundation for them. But the large 99% don't have that.
Yeah.
They're coming up from, where there's different types of backgrounds, what I'm saying? They're coming from maybe a more poorer background, but they, obviously really, really good at rugby or really good at soccer. So they're athletes, but they don't know the business behind the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like agents that come into place. What I'm saying? There's a lot of things, there's different sharks that come in, that the minute you start earning a lot of money, suddenly it becomes girls, cars, and just spending money. Everybody wants to get their buck out of you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So from us, it's just mainly what the concept of starting Hypersocial was basically, guys, let's start something that's going to be able to help the athlete. If they don't understand what we're going to sell to them, or what we're going to basically take them through as a course or whatever it may be, it's fine as long as we preach the message, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we're coming from 13, 14 years of being in business, you know what I'm saying? I'm 34 this year, so I started business basically when I was 18. So, you know, I've been able to, you know, see trends in business, you know, of people, of how they blow their money, you know. I saw this diagram the other day, kind of had, you know, these blocks that were all the same, and then one massive block that went like right up like this, and then it had, this is what people think success is. Where success is not that. Success is, you know, you're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down. You know what I'm saying? You have your amazing moments, but how do you save? How do you invest? You know what I'm saying? Are you the guy that gets R1 million and goes and buys an M4?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Straight away. Versus buying a block of flats or an apartment or going into construction, creating digital assets like what you've created, you know? And, you know, you're saying with your business as well, you know, you're starting out, you're a couple of months or maybe a year in or whatever it may be, but you know that over time, the generation is going this way.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an asset for you, you know, and this is what we basically try to educate to athletes.
Awesome. And Bongani, bro, thank you so much. And do you want to give a little short introduction of yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think I should stand up and leave. You said everything. Like, yeah, well, thank you so much. I mean, I think, you know, part and parcel to what he said, before we even touch on TIDL and the uniqueness and the differentiation factor of it, I think it's important to highlight that what he said about why we started Hypersocial is a very touchy subject in the athlete space or sporting space. You'd find, as he said, athletes are entrepreneurs naturally, and some are just, I'm waiting for the sponsorship only. Now, not all athletes are the same, right? And I've seen this being in the sports industry for 12 years now, so I've seen it. You know, the way of thinking, it's different. If I take an NBA star or NFL star, and we marry them up to other sports, you'd find there's a bit of a difference, you know. Is it a money thing, or is it just because it's an American thing? And our model, you know, and I said this to him a lot of times, is very American, and it's a new model for South Africa, and we're kind of hoping that athletes can take that and use it themselves. We've seen a lot of athletes do it now, clothing labels, fitness products, whatever it may be. That's the start of changing the whole attitude and the psyche towards why an athlete should have their brand making money, as opposed to only just getting endorsements. Not ruling the endorsements out. Endorsements are very important, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all. Like if you were a star rugby player, you know, your brand should also be selling out there as much as it sells for everybody else. So that was kind of the reason why we had a clientele of athletes and why we're pushing them to run their own businesses and have their brand represent, which is where TIDL came from and how. I mean, when you see this amazing thing on Instagram, you're like, wow, what is it? You know, you see a T, a I, a D, and an L, and you know, it looks like a great spray product. Jamal Liggin uses it as an NBA and an off-season trainer in the NFL. And when Mikhail spotted it and he showed it to me, he was like, check this out. All I saw was this guy training people on the beach. It looked really cool. Looked like a typical Cape Town scene. I was like, okay, this could work in South Africa. But then, you know, once we started to deep dive on what it is, and basically, as I don't have to tell you about cryotherapy and recovery, you know, what do you do post, even pre your workout? You know, do you take a BCAA maybe, or a protein shake, all that kind of stuff, which is great, but what is for the muscle? What really can help you wake up tomorrow and do it again and again and again and again? And if you think about what TIDL means, with the T, the I, the D, and the L, there's tenacity, intensity, dedication, and lifestyle. Those words are an acronym for going to gym. You go to the gym with that mentality, right? But you'll beat your body up. Question then becomes, what do you put on your body, right? What TIDL offers is plant-based. Like, a lot of people are going to get introduced to this, and us educating, whether it's consumer or athlete, into what the attributes are, is that we have 5 key ingredients in the product that are plant-based. Hemp extract, calendula, you got a form of eucalyptus that's in there as well. That all those attributes basically make the inflammation area, or the muscle that is painful, or the muscle that's tearing, that's going to recover, do it a lot faster, under the banner of cryotherapy. As you know, cryotherapy is the ice treatment, but this is spraying on the ice treatment. That's why you get the cool blast sensation. But behind the cool blast sensation that lasts probably up to 6 to 8 hours, you're getting the plant-based recovery element that's treating the inflammation. That's the difference between TIDL and anything else that's on the shelf, basically. So, but it's not magic spray. Like, in football, when someone gets injured and they do 1,000 rolls, then they spray the spray up and then it gets up and runs again. It's not that. It's mainly for the treatment of after performance and how do I get back to doing it. That's what the unique thing is about having this product in this country, and why I'm excited about it on the African continent, not just South Africa, is how far can we take it from an African continent-wise? Football players, netball players, basketball players, fitness enthusiasts and gym enthusiasts like yourself. That's the exciting thing about it.
Well, if we look at cryotherapy, I think there's celebrities everyone knows and sees Mark Wahlberg's videos of him doing like full body cryotherapy.
Oh yeah.
So now this is cryotherapy in a can, a bottle size can.
100%.
So do you want to maybe break down how it works, and how obviously you say it's best for post-workout and it's best for recovery. It's not a magic drug, but it is going to help you recover faster and be able to get back on the field, get back in the gym,
100%.
wherever you're going. So how does it work, and maybe the history of the brand itself?
Perfect. So I'll just give you a few encounters that I've obviously been through with people. So basically, when we first got our batch of samples, our tests, what I kind of did was, myself and Bongs basically just, it's not only about this full-on athlete that looks amazing and, we perceive, okay, he's got this six-pack and etc., he's the only one who can get hurt. There's also elderly people that actually suffer from arthritis. There's also kids that have growing pains. I have a daughter, and she has knee problems with growth pains. And basically, we spray on TIDL. The relief basically takes place immediately. So, different people have different, definitions on magic. Bongs' magic may be like, you spray it right now, you become Hulk. It's not that level of thing.
Yes.
But let me explain that the level of recovery that it can provide you with is, if you watch Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor's last fight, you would know that Conor's leg was screwed up. Like he limped out. Dustin gave him a hard one. Yeah. So he had his shin area was pretty blown up, and I think it took about maybe 4 days on the yacht. He was just spraying these cans, onto his shin area, and within 4 days you could see a massive recovery already on that, where he wasn't limping anymore. Now he's able to get back and train. Now, if you can put your body through that level, there's obviously elements of it inside, the actual, like Bongs is mentioning, the arnica, the CBD aspect. And there is a version without the CBD that is coming to the country as well. For those who don't really have the knowledge around, the hemp, etc., and they're scared to go down that road or whatever it may be, we do cater for you as well. So you can obviously get it at your nearest pharmacy or on the online store as well. And basically, I've used it on my mom-in-law. She's also got a few pains, just basically back, leg, normal ailments, etc. When the can ran out, she was pretty peed off, and she asked me for another can fast, because it gives you that immediate relief. So it's basically like, I wouldn't say it's an injection of any sort, but I would just say basically it's gonna give you that relief right away. So the best way to use it would be then to take a shower while the pores are open, spray TIDL on that spot, basically seeps in. You will feel a little bit of a warm sensation. It does smell a little strong, not as strong as other products that are on the market, but basically it'll seep into the pores immediately, and I can guarantee you within 5 minutes you'll start to feel a relief starting to take place, basically. So it gets warm and then it gets extremely cold. That's the cryotherapy part of it. Basically. So, the history, just a little bit about a background before I hand over to Bongs, is, the company basically that came up with the actual formula is the Anthos Group. So they based in the United States, out of Oregon. And basically, they've got a farm out there. These guys are basically going through the entire CBD and hemp process, basically. They've got other brands like CytoX, that they do specialize in as well, and they've obviously been through this process in terms, because they've got the farms, the best material. These guys are a team of doctors, man, like highly qualified doctors, pharmacists. that are obviously looking and seeing what are the best ways and methods, obviously of farming. And, what people don't actually understand is that hemp and marijuana is actually two different plants.
Yes.
So, and it's not actually common knowledge. So when people think of, oh shit, it's CBD, they think you're going to get high off the stuff. You're not going to get high on this at all. So, it's got the hemp plants inside. It's obviously got the additional extras that Bongs has mentioned. I definitely give you a list of these things after the podcast.
Yeah.
So if you do want to list it, on any platforms, you're welcome to do that. And man, I mean, that's the best way to use it right now. I've seen it work on athletes. I've seen it work on kids. We gave it to somebody in the Proteas, the coach, the physiotherapist coach, loved it as well. Also had a bit of a knee issue. He said he felt 20% worth of relief immediately when using the can on, and then actual athletes as well using it, and just wanting it. With us, the beauty of the product is, and also the biggest problem is that when someone uses it once, they become a recurring customer. They don't want one can anymore. Yeah. Because they're realizing, shit, man, this can, it works. I'm using it quite quickly. Yeah. It does last. It's a nice aerosol.
Do you have retail prices
already? We do. Currently, it's 400. It's going at 480 Rand that on the online store, inclusive of shipping and handling.
So we'll take a
to your doorstep, basically.
Your doorstep. Where you are, you can be on.
And, let's say someone uses it every day.
Yes.
Is it like, what's the correct frequency to use it? Is it, 3 sprays on an area after exercise, or is it only on injured areas, or how would you say the protocol is?
I mean, so let me rather put it to you like, you go to gym, right? So what happens to you when you're done with gym in your personal experience? If you don't mind sharing that, it'll help me answer you in a personal way, which I think is important.
Well, usually it would probably be, let's just take legs for an example, because most people, leg day is usually the most painful.
It's the most painful time where you push hard.
So the following day it's sore, but then the second day, the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, is always the second day after around about 36 hours, 48 hours. That's when it's the worst. But also there is times where I can feel maybe my knee didn't warm up my knees properly, and then a few hours after exercise or even that evening, I can feel that there's something in the joint of my knee that maybe I didn't warm up or whatever the reason was. But then let's say the muscle soreness is maybe the following day, 2 days after, but there are times where like your knees or your elbows, those times get injured a few hours after a workout.
So let's take the exercise where you're sitting in the chair. I think you might correct me. The quad raises.
Yeah, so like leg
extensions.
Yes.
Let's take that exercise. When I used to go to the gym, I know that leg extensions were intense, no matter how heavy, but your quads would really, really, really pull. As you say, you wake up the next day and it'll be sore. So you get home from gym, right? You take a shower, you spray it on just as if you're going to spray deodorant underneath your arms, basically. Okay. That's the same thing. Spray it on the one leg, spray it on the other leg, basically. Immediately, you feel the intense coolness. That's the cryotherapy treatment. That's immediate because it's cool on. It's cool application. And the other thing is it's not sticky. A lot of these products that you put on immediately afterwards, you'll feel there's like a sticky residue.
Yeah, like that dry ice.
It sticks onto you.
Exactly.
This case, that's eliminated. So you have the cryotherapy on first. As maybe, let's say, 45 minutes later, you'll start to feel the up and down, hot, cold. Now your plant-based ingredients are taking effect. Okay. The arnica is being absorbed by the skin. The hemp extract is being absorbed by the skin. The calendula is, right? The eucalyptus is. Everything is now being set into the muscle, targeting the inflamed area, reducing that inflammation. So it's basically where cryotherapy means exercise science. The exercise science is the team of doctors who have said, how does the plant-based ingredients add to the cryotherapy? Because you can jump in an ice bath only. That's it. And that's known as cryotherapy. That will probably cost you, 1,000 Rand?
Yeah, it's about
shot, right? But now what about the elements to reduce the inflammation and to help the long-term recovery? So it's the rapid relief, but on the way to long-term recovery. So the best exercise that I want to get into is obviously, and I'm so upset that the Comrades Marathon didn't happen this year, because when you see those guys who run the Comrades Marathon get on the plane the next day, it's like, it's funny because you see they are walking as if
barely move.
They can barely move. Yeah. So, if we'd had the expo where they collect the race packs and everything like that, I mean, ideally we would have had a stand, right? And we would have an education session to say, ma'am, so listen, this is TIDL. This is how it gets used, right? This is how you can use it in your practice runs leading up to the comrades, for example, and then immediately after the comrades, when you're in your hotel room, spray it on and start your recovery journey so that you can get back onto running again. And that's the key of it, is how quickly can we get you out of the gym basically and then back in again. Yeah. So that you can, you want to go in. I mean, I used to remember when I used to do leg day, I didn't want to go to the gym the next day. Like, everything is sore.
So like even for you, or like if you have, let's say, a sore
just talk a bit closer to them.
Perfect, man. So even for the examples that you gave us, basically, immediately, as Bon said, hit the showers.
So it's not
spray
only
it
for
all over the
injured
legs.
areas; it's also for just
Not only for
general
injuries,
recovery.
general just muscle relief.
Yeah.
It's going to help you recover faster. So basically, that after effect process that you mentioned, day 3 or day 4, where you're feeling it even worse now, and just before it comes out of that complete, fatigue or, stress on the muscles, this is going to help it completely. You're going to recover faster, and you're going to basically be able to get back into the gym within 24 hours, training the same muscle.
So what did separate TIDL compared to like those deep heats and the ice equivalents, and what would separate you guys from them? Is it the hemp, or
it's the plant-based? It's literally the plant-based ingredients in the product. That is point number 1. That's very important. Then you can get to cryotherapy, right? Those are the 2, and then we can talk about non-sticky. But obviously, we all have a role to play on the shelf. Yeah. Our role is simple. It's a recovery product. It's really nursing the issue of recovery. That's where we play. So we're not trying to play in other spaces and trying to knock off other brands. No. Every brand has a purpose here. We are here for recovery. That's the difference between us, is the ingredients.
Every brand has its features, and I would just say that most brands that are being used right now are temp solutions. They're very short-term solutions. Yeah. They don't actually have the right nutrients that are going into the actual muscle. So it's basically quickly spray it on, go back on.
Quick superficial
relief, but you still got to go to the physiotherapist. You still got to go to the, do the after trainings and the et cetera, where this actually basically, I'm not saying that a physiotherapist goes out of the window now when you buy a can. Yeah. He still definitely
depends on
whatever the injury is, but this has got a longer term effect in terms of the healing, and it's going to help you recover really, really fast. The sprays that are on the market right now are not recovery sprays. Yeah. They just temp solutions.
It's a temp solution
quickly spray it on, it freezes it a little bit. The back pain is feeling a little bit better, but I've still got it afterwards.
Essentially, it's like a painkiller that kind of just dulls the pain, but doesn't sort out the problem.
I've had people using those products. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the pads, the sprays, the other sprays, 3 or 4 different products, and taking tablets, and the pain is still there. Where they just use this one product, boom. The power of CBD is really, really hectic and it's really intense. So it's obviously got something that's happening that's really, really doing extremely well. Nothing illegal, but basically,
the power of hemp extract.
100%.
Well, I mean, people should know that it's CBD, not THC, so it's not psychoactive.
100%.
There's no ability to get
0%
high
THC.
or anything. Yeah, there's 0% THC. So, the THC is what will make you get high, but there's 0% of that. So there's absolutely nothing. So it's going to get you as high as this water is going to get me as high.
Of course.
It's the same thing.
Exactly. But there's an interesting partnership that TIDL did globally with a physiotherapy lab / institution. It's called Sports Lab Center, in Los Angeles, where if you go for an operation like your Achilles tendon, when you go to physio and you start to strengthen the muscle, your physio will do the medicine ball exercises where you stand on the medicine ball and tilt your body from side to side, and get the strength back in the tendon, basically. They use TIDL in their recovery element. So we're looking to obviously merge. We're not trying to put a physio out of business. You can never do that. It's impossible to put a physio. But how does a physiotherapist use TIDL in his or her recovery studios, basically? That's such an important thing. That's such an important relationship. I've seen the cupping thing, where they lie you down. They'll do that first, and then they spray the TIDL on your entire back for about 2 minutes, and then obviously let it absorb, and then on to the next session. So it's how do we use it together? Yeah, that is the big thing, basically. And as I was saying, with a role to play with alongside the top physios in the country. I mean, when we got it in, we actually took it to my uncle, who is at the Morningside Sports Clinic, basically. He's responsible for looking for all the top athletes, whether it's rugby, football, you name it, have all gone through that practice. He sprayed it on his arm, and we had a meeting with him, and he was like 20 minutes later, he's like, I can still feel this thing working.
Sure.
Like, this is insane. So when you have feedback like that from a physio, you know immediately that we can work together. And that's ultimately what we want to do, because it works.
Yeah.
The whole range, I mean, there's a whole range coming that we're going to bring in, but the spray as an innovation, it works. And that's what we're confident of, you know, which makes us excited because we can help,
Yeah.
you know.
So now you recently partnered with Drickus, who's actually fighting this weekend.
Exciting,
Unfortunately, by the time
man.
this comes out, that fight will be done. So we're just going to have a premonition that he would have won already. We already know he's going to win. And he's got the support of TIDL on his side as well, obviously. So it's not just for, I mean, Connor obviously being a big part of the brand is also, it's to address those actual injuries. It's not just recovery. I mean, almost helping Connor be able to not limp anymore after that final Dustin fight. It'll be very interesting to see how this weekend goes, being the trilogy, the final fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Connor won the first one, Dustin won the second one.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So it's the final battle. It's the final battle.
It's a one
Connor wins
apiece.
the third one,
And I mean, it's so exciting to see Connor have trained the way he did, and the mental, you know, approach. I mean, even Drickus, for example. I mean, Drickus was supposed to have gone to the UFC in March.
Yeah,
Right? Was it in March?
The Vegas fight.
Yeah, the Vegas one in
March,
March.
yes.
And then all of a sudden, he couldn't get
his visa properly.
in time, and he was intensely training, and he was recovering with TIDL, basically. And it was funny seeing him spray, like he sprayed a whole can in one session. I'm thinking, what are you doing? He's like, the thing works, like it feels good, you know, all over his body. And to see him have gone through that training, and then it happened, and then he didn't go. Then the build up to the next one, and he was intensely training. I'm in the best shape of my life. And there's Connor training as well, because he's announced that there's going to be the third fight. So to see both of these athletes go, and to see where they are now, that's where my excitement is. Like, the test is here now. Whatever happens in the octagon, right? Leave it in the octagon, or we know that it's going to be a W for both TIDL athletes.
Yeah.
When those W's come, it just sends an even clearer message, you know, that this is the one to have. I mean, funny enough, I wasn't even a UFC fan. He converted me. So I found it boring. I'm more of a boxer. I want to see the technique, but it's actually pretty intense. Like,
intense.
It's intense, especially after the Usman punch. That was I've never seen a fight that really rocked me.
I've been watching UFC since the days of like Tito Ortiz and those type of guys. I don't know if you know, Ken Shamrock, and those are, you know, the older years, you know, and, you know, just seeing the way it's transformed, the sport has transformed, you know, Dana White, and how he's built this amazing, you know, itinerary that's just, I mean, what are we having, like fights every second week? Or
just
every,
about.
You know,
I mean, we are.
it's crazy.
It's 264 this weekend.
264, yeah.
That's
And I mean,
ridiculous.
Drickus getting that mention from Dana
That's
on
what
his
I'm
Instagram.
saying.
Twice.
Yeah.
You got it twice. I was like, goosebumps at Drickus, as they call him. Drickus. Dana says Drickus. I was like, but I mean,
We'll take it.
we'll take it.
Yeah,
But
we'll take it,
he's there,
100%,
and
man.
it just shows you know, how Dana has grown the UFC as a business. My hat off to him.
Crazy.
That's just amazing. But the fact that Drickus is like flying the South African flag this week alongside who's his idol, which is Connor.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
be on that
to be on
undercard is incredible.
on that what do they call it? A fight sheet, roster,
card.
a fight
That's
card.
the card, yeah.
To be on that fight card, come on, man.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
why he's the
where-
right person for title.
Just to go back a bit, and where we actually came into contact with Drickus was, you know, we've got the business associate, Quibus, that was actually quite close to Drickus. Drickus actually comes from Harties,
He's a Hartbeespoort boy.
if I'm correct, you know. And we know Harties, you know, is like a small little
Yeah.
town where we drive an hour
A
out
place
to
where
go and
people think
have
it just exists on the
chill out.
weekends.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a weekend hangout.
Yeah.
It's a
vibe,
weekend hangout. Yeah.
So I mean, he went to school there, and obviously, you know, he had an opportunity to actually go and play for the Blue Bulls, which he was actually signed to the Blue Bulls, and then he
Drickus now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the
in
Tux
his
relationship.
in his
right?
younger
Okay.
years, you know, and I mean, that guy's built for rugby. You can see he's proper, you know, and you know, he misunderstand is that psychologically for him to take a route of fighting that yes, wrestling, judo, you know, in the Vaal or in Transvaal, you know, back in the days, was massive sports, but mixed martial arts was not big in South Africa. So him taking that route and saying, you know what, I'm gonna hold up on the rugby side of things. You know, we kind of met him, you know, where he had already been, you know, he had made a name in the UK, I think, or not
even in the EFC.
I think
coming here as well.
he was fighting in a league overseas, basically, and he was doing exceptional. Came back to South Africa, obviously, we got introduced, you know, through Quibus, which is, as I mentioned, a business associate, you know. And when we sat down with them, you know, funny enough, we actually had two products. You know, the one was, I don't know if you're familiar with Live Fit apparel. So we basically been in touch with Randall Pitch, you know, who's in Huntington Beach in the United States, doing exceptional, you know, with his Live Fit apparel, and got the vest on over here.
Okay,
so,
cool. It matches.
Yeah. But you know, Drickers was he loved the gear. So, you know, basically we had handed off some gear to him as well, but our main purpose was TIDL. We said to him, look, as much as this is clothing and apparel, but we got something for you that's actually gonna support your career. We want to support you. We don't want to be those guys that just basically where you're just an ambassador face. Cool, we make money and whatever it may be. We want to follow your journey. And at that time was a time where it got cancelled. The first fight that we had just mentioned is messaged him and said to him, don't worry, bro, relax. There's some titles and let's keep you going. And he got that call to say, I got that second booking. I think that happened in a 2-week space from the cancellation.
It happened very quickly.
So now he went back into camp. Obviously, he's had a good enough time, you know. And if you ever look at the statistics, I'm just saying right now, you know, the gentleman that he is fighting, you know, I think they mentioned he's a police officer in the United States or something to that effect. Yeah.
Wow.
And basically, he's got 3 wins. He's 3 of his last wins. With Drickers has 17 of his last wins.
Yes.
You know, so. You know, we know we backing a South African that's strong, that's had a good training camp, and also, you know, he's really getting a lot of love from the TIDL team, which is quite a big team.
I saw he made their main Instagram. They did a post about
100%,
him.
and they love Drickers right now, man. So basically, like, you know,
they love
Dahl, Cohen, and who's the marketing the chief
CMO.
marketing officer,
CMO.
you know, of TIDL as well. That's basically handing him gifts, you know, packs and all these different amazing things. You know what I'm saying, over there. He's on the itinerary as well to be chilling with Connor and being able to get direct access to him now, which is amazing. You know what I'm saying, which is South African. You know, I mean, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
You know,
I
for
mean, who would
you
have
and I
thought?
to meet Conor McGregor and to be able to have a lunch or chill.
Yeah, you would never think it's possible.
It's not gonna happen. I mean, it was exactly the same thing he said to me yesterday. He said the highlight of my life.
It's
me sitting down with
essentially
him. Highlight.
our local, like a Bafana player going and having lunch with Ronaldo. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Only
He's
only
that level of a
difference
superstar.
is that he doesn't just back the product. He's a business owner in the product. You know what I mean? And
so it's not just he's getting financial gain and doing nothing by using it. He's actually actively invested.
He's actively
He's
participating
vested in the entire brand,
Yes.
you know. And the amazing thing, just from my side of my experience with Drickers, is that Drickers is more than an athlete. You know, he's a businessman. He's a solid businessman. You know, he wears his suits. You can see that his approach and the way he upholds himself and articulates himself in the UFC and in the various the local the EFC as well. You know, if you watch his matches, watch his you know, where he's analyzing as well. You know, he's got a good healthy future in the sport. My dreams, wishes for him as an athlete, besides TIDL, is to see him in the next 5 or 10 years dominating, becoming a brand name like an Usman, you know, and later on, obviously, seeing that he's dominating his weight group and he's a South African. Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. Good luck to him.
And we got it's amazing if you're thinking about it. That, I mean, why the TIDL team in the US also got excited was obviously they did their homework. Yeah. I mean, they researched the guy. They, you know, and they saw, you know, I mean, his first fight and how quick that knockout was, like 17 seconds or something. First round knockout happened quickly. And they could see that there's a natural fit because, I mean, to be a TIDL team athlete, it's not everybody, but it's unique athletes who have that character and that story. And Drickers' story is that, I mean, even when he was sitting us down in Pretoria when we met, he said that his father was like, no, not this fighting thing. I don't know if you remember when he said that.
Yeah.
He said that this fighting thing is not for you. And he went against what his father was saying to get where he is. And when Drickus posted that picture that he posted on Father's Day with his dad in his arms, I was like, wow. You know,
Yeah.
who would have thought? You know, who would have thought back then his father was probably saying to him, Leisteriso, that's not for you, type of thing. Leave that alone.
Yeah.
And now, look, Dad, I'm on the world's greatest stage,
Crazy.
meeting Connor,
Yeah.
and sit down and have sushi with him, or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. When I think of it, I get goosebumps. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you get that? Like,
And
I
it's
should
just
be there.
another
kind of
thing. Another thing is that we're blessed to have the support of Badal Shah, Cohen Kakar, you know, Prashant, as well, who are the owners
Of the Anthos.
and the creators
of TIDL as well.
of TIDL and the Anthos group. You know,
They've had so much
you know,
belief in us.
you'll meet amazing people in your life, but I can tell you something that they won't be able to beat this. If you get on a call with these guys, you'll understand the energy, you'll understand
Yes.
the love that they actually have, and anything that we say. I mean, if we say we're going to endorse this little skull that you've got over here, bro, they'll back us 100%. You know, and it's nice to know that when I send you, for instance, as an ambassador over there, you received with love.
Yes.
You received on a professional high level, because that's the image that we're maintaining for this brand, and we want to be able to, you know, get into the right hands and the right athletes. We've got a list of athletes right now on deck at the moment that we are going to be launching and working with some of the biggest agencies in the world right now that are also going to be working with us in rolling out the marketing plan. So yeah, man, we've got some good partnerships that you guys will see on our social media being launched very, very soon.
Awesome. Look forward to that. So you can now order online, eh?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. You can order
Tidal
online.
Sport, www.tidalsport, TIDLSPORT.co.za.
I'll put the link in the description, everything below.
100%.
And then, do you have any plans of other means of distribution, putting it in like a disc game, or is that
was
still
waiting for
still,
that.
still in
I was
discussion?
waiting for that. I mean, that's the North Star, right? For us, that's the North Star, because that's how we're really making sure that we're reaching Africa and South Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you have the massive right retail partners, fortunately, I mean, we're going to be rolling out next week with local independent groups. But, you know, we would love to work with the Diskims and the Clicks of the world, because those are partners that you reach all four corners of South Africa. And if we can get into that and help, as I said, help South Africans recover the right way, which is our way, which is the TIDL way, we can make a massive impact, a healthy, positive impact. You know, I mean, even associations with gyms as well. Hopefully when the pandemic is under control, and the numbers are going down, you know, we can do the activations in the Planet Fitness gyms and the Move gyms, because those are the people that we need to bring closer to the product.
Yes.
And that's what we really want to do, you know. The home gym vibe works, but I'm sure everyone gets hella frustrated with that.
Everyone just, you know,
I mean, you probably
trick-
also get frustrated.
yeah, they
but-
trick themselves into thinking that it's cool
100%.
to be training at home, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to be at a facility.
100%.
Everyone wants to be in the facility, and, you know, if we could walk around the gym, you know, and see someone on the squat and, spray this on and see what it does for you, or retail from the gym. That's the North Star for us. But where we've started right now in the online store and making sure that obviously, so our promise is we'll take care of the shipping. You just get the product in your hand type of thing. Hence why we've said it's 480 Rand, including shipping, because we want to make sure that it makes sense to get it to you.
Yes.
And basically use it. And, you know, we want to become a part of your everyday life. Hence why the other products that we got coming out in the first quarter of next year as well are products that you can use that participate in your daily life. So it's not just about the spray anymore. There's more psyche coming, you know, full sports analysis, sleep, you know, your immune system going forward. There's a lot of things that we're going to be paying attention on under the TIDL banner. And that's what makes it's a more than dynamic company.
Yeah.
You know, and as we grow, we hope to grow South Africa in it and leading into Africa too.
Africa as well.
That's the biggest.
Well, that's exciting, guys.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so we'll be sure to get you one too as well.
Yeah,
More
I
than
look
one.
forward to it.
Oh, yours
More
will
than-
definitely be on.
more
its
than
way,
one,
yeah.
right?
I was even going to say, you know, when you are, and how's your bodybuilding? Are you still involved with your bodybuilding as well?
Yeah, so, I actually got news yesterday. So this is going to be my final show that I'm ever going to do.
Okay.
What?
So
Wow.
this year, yeah. So I want to, because the biggest thing with bodybuilding is you don't want it to take away from business,
Yes.
from relationships and family, and
Correct.
because there's no monetary give back. You know,
Yes.
there's nothing that you can other than saying I won. But
Yeah.
there's no prize money in bodybuilding unless obviously you go overseas and do the actual shows. But I
Sure.
mean, even then, you know, the biggest shows in the world is like $1 million, and there's no way that I would ever get to that level. And I also don't have the goals of getting to that level.
Yeah.
My goals are more business focused, right? So I'm obviously doing it to facilitate other business things that I'm doing.
Yes.
And I enjoy training. I enjoy the bodybuilding. But now, actually, interestingly enough, I've recently started boxing.
Nice.
Thoroughly enjoying boxing, and I prefer the boxing training sessions just because of the pure intensity of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've actually recently, you know, after boxing, this week actually, after these 2 sessions, my biceps been really sore, and I can see that
Yes.
title is definitely going to be something that, you know, because my biceps aren't used to like the constant
Motion, right?
impact,
Yeah.
the constant impact, and definitely I have that sensation for like 2 or 3 hours after the session, and now speaking, I can see that that's exactly something that I need to be spraying on after that.
100%.
Yeah,
So we're going to make
100%.
sure that you got enough in your hands, and you know, obviously just gracing us and being able to have a platform like
Yeah.
yours,
Yeah.
and wherever we can help you, man. You know, to obviously reach more people. Please let us know. We'll make sure that you got enough title in your hands for your body.
Yeah, well, I know the people watching are definitely going to be interested in grabbing some as well.
Yeah,
Most
I mean,
definitely,
but
man.
it's-
And man,
But
you know,
as, I
wherever we
mean-
can support you, you know,
I
we'll
mean,
gladly be
you've
there.
given us this opportunity
Of course.
to tell South Africa a little bit more about title, and we hope that it's not the end. I mean, I heard you saying that it's going to be the last show. I hope it's not for too long.
The last
I mean-
bodybuilding show, but I might do some white collar boxing.
White collar-
There we go.
That
You
kind
can
of
call
thing.
me. I can. We can get in the ring
Yeah, we
together.
can do
It'll be a
it.
bit of a
Yeah.
mismatch, but it'll be like Logan Paul Mayweather.
Yeah,
situation.
exactly.
So
We're busy with an aggressive rollout as well to Africa. So if
Okay.
there's any people in Namibia, Botswana, or above,
Yes.
outside of South Africa, and they're looking, obviously, spot a product that they could definitely put in their stores or something that they want to make a difference with in sports, they can feel free to get a hold of us. Basically, there are contact numbers on
Awesome.
the website as well.
I'll put all the link and everything, all the links in the description, and they can get
100%,
hold of
man.
you.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. I really
thank you so
appreciate
much.
coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Of
And
course.
good luck with the boxing. I'll be your first guy.
That's cool.
We'll
We'll
first
do it.
guy-
We'll,
we'll be
we'll
first
definitely
fight.
put that up on YouTube.
100%, man. Thanks a
So,
lot.
guys, thank you.
Thank you
And
so
thank you very
much.
much for listening, guys.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.